Previously on Destiny.
Eris, I've arranged the transmat, but once she's here, we'll lose containment. We can't go back on this one.
One last atrocity.
Eris Morn. Finally out of her shell. It looks good on you, honey.
Guardian, what have you been working on in here? A pattern in Savathun's wings. She did give us what she promised. The last wish.
With Savathun and her sister at large, how many times has the Witch Queen returned? Again and again. Even among her siblings, this was the rationale of the game they practiced, according to the worm their gods. With Xivu Arath out of focus for a moment, our attention turns back towards the Witch Queen, and the information the Vanguard desperately needs. Away through the spatial portal within the Traveler. Savathun has revealed the secret to breaching the portal, and according to Ikora, we need to wait to discover what form it's taken. Welcome back, Guardians. My name is Samlam. Today I have quite a few things to discuss. Savathun's return and the heirloom, and conjuring back. No one would have predicted the machinations of the Queen of Lies. What's much worse is that she would seek to employ a contingency so dangerous it could throw the entire universe of Destiny as we know it out of balance. I am of course referring to the Imbaru Engine, one of tribute but also pure potential. Have a listen to this audio log from the end of Season of the Witch.
Mission report number 472.622.3. Regarding our ongoing attempts to breach the extra-spatial portal within the Traveler, I'm relieved to report that Eris's risky plan worked. Her final ritual banished Xivu Arath from her own throne world. The Hive God of War is vulnerable for the first time in millennia. When the time comes, we can finally force a decisive engagement against her. But first, we have to deal with the witness. To that end, it seems the Witch Queen held up her end of the bargain. I didn't want to let her go, but Savathun offered some enticing collateral. She left Imbaru in Vanguard custody. He's an odious little wretch, but an important one. As long as we control the Witch Queen's connection to the light, she'll think twice before crossing us. It went against my every instinct to let Savathun squirm away again. But we need to keep our attention on that portal. She gave us the secret to breaching it. Now, we just need to discover what form it's taken. For now, Asa is back in hibernation, and Eris is recovering. More than that, she's thriving. I was worried that Eris's obsession with the Hive would overwhelm her, but she's carrying herself with an air of confidence I haven't seen in a century. And I'm just glad to see her happy.
The situation is intriguing, especially since Xivu Arath has been banished. Ironically, Savathun didn't reveal how to breach the extra-spatial portal. But the Hive siblings have been brought back from death or near death before. It goes without saying that both Savathun and her brother Oryx were perhaps the cleverest of the siblings, though I am sure the Witch Queen would consider herself to be the apex exemplification of cunning. Have a listen to this lore entry from the book Sorrowside, titled Savathûn, Swords and Lanterns. verses 8 of 8, Ascension.
My sorry, sad, inculcated sister. She thinks she's as honest as a knife's edge, just because she never speaks a lie aloud. But she's prone to contradiction, at least since our beloved brother fell. She could never quite understand it. Someone as mighty as Oryx, brought down by liars, his bloodline destroyed, his corpse left to desiccate in Saturn's orbit. Savathun actually believed that dreadnought of his was unsatiable, but Oryx knew that he had limits, more than once. He took the power of our deaths to defeat something stronger than himself. She's just bitter she wasn't there to die for him again. She says she's the god of death, but I've seen her throne as a mausoleum for life with all the close, cloying comfort of the birthing room, wet and raw and filled with disgusting effluvia. I imagine it reminds her of our gardens so long ago, and all the things that grew there. She really shouldn't be so nostalgic. There was a game we played when we were young, swords and lanterns. Savathûn held the lantern, while Zero held the sword. Savathûn would search for her hidden sister, and Zero would avoid the lantern's light. If Zero touched Savathûn with her sword, she would win. If Savathûn found Zero with her lantern, she would win. Savathûn devised the rules, but Zero would let her sister find her. I still give her presents too, of course. I gave her to her bottle, my gift to my last surviving sibling. She gobbled it up so greedily. She didn't even consider how it proved her precious logic false. And what kind of thing is a gift? The deep doesn't like gifts, neither does the logic. But we're sisters. I thought I'd be nice and share. Zivu was too busy to notice that little contradiction. She never even thanked me. What did she say as soon as she set foot on Torbottle? For as long as I have worshipped war, you have worshipped me. Ayat, Ayat. That was Torbottle. I know a joke in a dead language. I bat.
The relationship of the Hive siblings wasn't overly complex, but like any family, it had histories and a lot of family issues. Psychologists will often observe patterns within the wall of a family structure, and point out patterns, where the middle sibling is the most stable emotionally and mentally. Now, while this isn't exactly the case with Savathûn, I think it's obvious that she was always ahead of both Oryx and Zivu, even going so far as to question the bargain they had struck with the worm gods. Both Oryx and Zivu were so devoted to serving the witness, earnestly both would live out the way of the sword logic, in pursuit of this altruistic final shape that they had been promised repeatedly. The intricacies of the Hive dynasty fascinates. There are so many parallels one can draw from this family and the choices each individual made. Zivu is a younger sibling who wishes to maintain history, to move forward completely and utterly devoted to the practices she feels embodies the love of three siblings. As the only known survivors of the Osmium court, she is emphatically convinced that Oryx will be revived. But according to Savathûn, the Taken King's resurrection isn't possible. However, this is puzzling. Guardians learned during Season of the Deep that in Savathûn's absence, the Lucent Hive had begun a process to revive Oryx. Have a listen to this audio log.
picking you up again. The signal's clearing and I'm receiving your ghost's feed of... Is that... Oryx? Were the Lucent Hive trying to... This was a ritual to resurrect the taken king. By force? We're lucky you were able to stop this, Guardian. I don't even know if what they were trying to do here was possible, but... the risk alone... I'm going to contact Ikora immediately. She'll want the Hidden to secure Oryx's remains for study.
With the remains of Oryx now in the custody of the Hidden, it will be interesting to see what they are able to uncover, and whether it would be possible for a resurrection. What's more is that the prospect of this possibility will undoubtedly have an impact on Xivu Arath. She may even attempt to resurrect her late brother. The idea of Xivu Arath bringing about the miraculous at this point is unthinkable. The Witness may pose a big threat, but imagine for a moment that Oryx were to be revived, gaining access to a ghost, and return to the battlefield. The consequences of such a scenario are too immense to contemplate. Not only would Xivu Arath be more powerful than ever before, but all the Guardian's allies and allies of allies would be in danger of being destroyed. The only way to prevent this from happening is to stop the Witness and Xivu Arath before they can complete their end and learn about the Veil. With everything he understands of the Deep and the Witness, information like this would be enough to throw the entire universe out of balance. Why are the Hive so important? Historically in Destiny, the Hive descend from an ancient past, whose conquests were so vast as the universe is limitless. Every challenge that stood before them was made quick work of. Manipulating ranks, uncovering logics, surpassing untold limits of power. Savathun understood this very well. Have a listen to this next lore entry from the book Sorrowside, titled Savathun, Imago Unfurl.
We were the last surviving siblings. That's what this has always been about for Xivu Arath. She wanted us all to survive. She would throw everything she could at us, so we could learn to survive. Didn't quite work, did it? My brother's greatest acts of navigation were his metamorphoses. That was his tactic. He would change everything about himself so that he could survive this universe. Meanwhile, my sister cuts the universe apart, makes it as sharp as she, until all that's left is her and her love. I'm a little bit of both. No need to choose. I don't have my brother's fear or my sister's vanity. Even in his infinite adaptability, Oryx could not withstand the Guardians. So Xivu Arath wants to prove she can by being as rigid and unyielding as she always has been. No need to fix what isn't broken. Overwhelming force, tactics, and intimidation. We are who we are, and we choose our morphs carefully. I wanted life, Xivu wanted vengeance and dominion. Oryx wanted to venture out deep in thought and feed on the delicacies of truth. Well, he got what he wanted. Now Oryx knows death more intimately than any of us. No bringing him back. Poor Xivu's distraught. With all that war and ruin to hide behind, she thinks she doesn't show it. Deep down, she believes Oryx must have survived through their logic. She believes he'll be conjured back, just like he conjured us. That was a long time ago. We've moved past that. Despite everything to come, I will live on, with and without them. Should I say that I miss my siblings? that I miss the times when the threats of death and short lifespan were still with us. When we piloted our needle, when we dove and became what we became. No, Xivu is the sentimental one. We are not who we were. Who we were no longer exists. I sound like my brother.
As a player of the game, Savathun understood that everything contained within life and death in the universe of Destiny is transient. She used this knowledge to her advantage, manipulating the universe. Every action she took was carefully planned and calculated, guaranteeing that her will was done. She manipulated the light and the darkness, creating her own destiny and the destiny of those around her. She was the master of her own fate, and no one could deny her that power. This lore entry is vital, due to its nature, but held within is the key. Savathun states, "We've moved past that. Despite everything to come, I will live on, with and without them." A brutish sentence, poised with elegance. Such are the machinations of a queen. Part of her plan has been revealed, a contingency the Vanguard and Guardians or anyone could have predicted. This is except for one person, Eris Morn. Have a listen to this next audio log.
That was quite the masterstroke, Eris. I'm impressed. You have the unique honor of murdering me. A long time ago, my siblings and I would have welcomed you into our little family.
Your resurrection was out of necessity. I took my revenge. I will not be taunted by you now.
Oh, you took more than your revenge, honey. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Truth is a funny thing. Does it live in the world or in the mind? Is it constant or can it be undone? Who says what is true or false in this universe of light and dark?
Famous words uttered by the Witch Queen herself at the beginning of Season of the Risen, and yet they remain true. When Eris Morn slew Savathun, she didn't just receive power, making her the most powerful hive ever, but she was adopted into the family, able to place a piece on the board. A knight, a rook, or perhaps a pawn on a chessboard to enter the game. What I mean is, once ascendant, always ascendant. Eris Morn has tapped into power far greater than she would be open to admitting. Whatever bait Savathun laid, Eris took the bait and continues to follow. Last week, Guardians had the opportunity to finish the last opaque card from the deck of Whispers, enabling the completion of the Imbaru Engine. The engine itself is of course a contingency built by Savathun, providing her regular tribute, but we will have to visit that in another video. Upon completion of the Imbaru Engine challenges, Guardians were rewarded with a final chamber at the very top of the spire, with 3 braziers in the middle of the room. All you had to do was visit 3 locations to collect the respective brazier flames and ignite each one. Once completed, an additional secret door would unlock. In this room is the worst possible thing you could ever imagine. An uncorrupted Ahamkara egg. But what's more fascinating is something I missed that my name is Bife pointed out in his recent Ahamkara series. In the top left of the screen, a mission objective with 5 words of what to do. Claim the Witch Queen's heirloom. This is pretty monumentous. Why? Because the last mention we had of an heirloom is when Savathun had instructed Imbaru in a contingency recording to deliver the heirloom to the Empress Kyatal for a protracted attrition of war. And we all know that any war involving an Ahamkara is a very dangerous gamble indeed. We haven't seen any information provided as to where this egg originates from, or how Savathun got her claws on such a thing. But its very existence presents multiple problems. For comparative purposes, I thought I would show you a side-by-side of what a corrupted and non-corrupted variant Ahamkara egg look like. Many of you will remember several weeks back I suggested what was essentially a pre-forecast for what is now Season of the Wish. It is still very possible that Morozov intends to hatch the Ahamkara egg that she is in possession of within her throne room. The real question is why Savathun had this Ahamkara egg, and was the engine powered by it, or was she using the tribute from the Imbaru Engine to empower the Ahamkara and herself simultaneously? Questions after questions are mounting up again, Guardian, and I cannot wait to see how it all comes together. Though ahead seems bleak, even in the face of the worst adversity there is still a spark of light. Hope that tomorrow will be a better day for us. Guardians, keep holding on to that spark. For now, that's all I have for you. I'm actively working on more Ahamkara themed videos and other non-Destiny lore stories coming up as we get closer to the next season. I may reserve Warframe and Spider-Man lore videos until the holiday period, but let me know in the comments if you are enjoying these videos lately. If you did, be sure to leave a like, click subscribe and the bell to be notified when my next lore video goes live. Remember that no matter what you're facing at this moment in time, you can do all things. Stay safe and Godspeed.